I've been working on a ton of stuff. You can kind of see it back here. I've been switching my angle up a little bit, but some of the stuff you could see down there, that's my server rack, and then some of the stuff you could see back here. This is like this Mac Studio. I'll jump out of the way. But it's this rack mount for this Mac Studio along with tons of NVMe storage, and I'm like building. I'm moving my mini rack over here, and I'm racking both my Mac and my Windows and my Linux machine all right here in a rack, so I don't have to deal with cords and all of this stuff. So I'm gonna have a mini rack right here, and it will help hopefully keep things tidy. This has been an interesting journey with this Mac Studio and rack mounting it. Nothing to do with the products that I'm using, but just Thunderbolt. I learned a ton about Thunderbolt. It should be out soon. It's crazy. If you ever done Thunderbolt stuff, or maybe you just plug in Thunderbolt and you're like, yeah, it works. Well, there's a lot going on with Thunderbolt 3, 4, theoretical max speeds. Why aren't I getting the max speeds, downstream stuff, all that. So anyways, that's what I've been working on. I will have that out soon, probably next week, I hope. Who knows? Maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. Who knows? I'm about halfway through editing because I finally got everything wrapped up. Anyways, that aside, let's as far as tech projects though, that's my tech project right there. Is deep dive on that, figuring out Thunderbolt. And I have some new, I don't know, a new switch, new access point. Those are kind of like things I need to do. I don't know. Maybe I'll release that in a tiny short video or short or something like that. I got some network upgrades coming. I don't know if that warrants full video, but if it does, I'll turn it into one. Anyways, all that aside, what are you guys working on? Throw it in the chat. I'd love to hear it. Love to talk about it. This is our time once a week where we get to kind of nerd out, geek out on some tech stuff I don't usually get to talk about. If I talk about a lot of this tech stuff with most of the people I know, eyes glaze over, or they'll say, "What the heck are you talking about?" So, anyway, throw it in chat. Let's talk about it. So real quick, let's go through. There was follows, there was cheers, there was or bits, and there were subs. So let's go through. I'm gonna go through from a little bit before the stream. So Farland Lubber, Farland Lubber. Thanks for the follow. Tech Life, Humble Jelly. Thank you all for the follow. Salvarius, thanks for the resub. Tier 1, 28 months, dude. Thank you so much, Salvarius. Dude, almost 3 years. Let's go, man. Thank you so much. Randoneering, how's it going, man? Prime, 10 months, 10-month streak. Thank you so much. 10 months is almost a year. Happy to support the community in random conversations of cards, games, databases. Wow. I forgot what that noise means, but something happened. I think that means someone. I need to turn that sound down. Anyways, I think that's a redemption. I don't know. I need to fix the Twitch embedded ones. They're getting mixed up with my normal ones. That was a pretty awesome sound, though. I kind of liked it. So anyways, let's go back. Randoneering says, happy to support the community with my random conversation, cards, games, databases, and Manny watching over my shoulder. That is right. Manny's all over it. All over it. Just when I think like I might be sneaking something in the channel, he's right there. He's right there. That is the event. I will, whoa. Yeah. That's bright. That is bright in here. If you're wondering like what is going on, you can change the lights in here with channel points. Channel points, you earn them just by being here. You earn enough, you can change the lights in here. And absolutely free. Channel points don't cost anything, just your attendance, your time, I guess, is what channel points are. And so I've rigged them up to my lights in this room, and you can pick a theme. There are a couple themes, dark, light, and a couple of others. So anyways, Yakto resub Prime 12 months, dude. 1 year. Let's go, man. Yakto Yakto. He's heading up YWS in the Pacific Northwest. And how's it going, Yakto? I saw you ping me in Crafts the other day. Craft Computing's Discord. Maybe it was this morning. I don't know. Time is weird for me. I think it might have been this morning. Talking about someone else was calling it YWS. It's like, all right, it's catching on. PC Geek, hey, thanks so much. Cheered, 100 bits. Let's go. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Appreciate all you do. And Red Q's, thanks for follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Okay. Let's hop into chat and let's see what's going on. If you have something you want to talk about, let's talk about. Sigor, hello, hey Tim and all. Lots of salutations. Wells, look who it is. Back on my Friday stream game. Yeah, I am for sure. Hello, Homelabbers. Let's see. Matt, this looks like one. In the process of doing a fan swap on UPS for Noctua fans. Awesome. Yeah. want to say I'm jealous, but I have Noctua fans too. Not jealous of opening up that UPS, although you just gave me a great idea. I'm glad you said this today because I have a UPS on my server rack, and I went down there last night and I dropped a screw, and I went to pick up the screw. UPS is on the bottom, and I'm like, that fan's awfully loud, and I didn't think anything else of it. I just thought, just the way it is. So now you saying you're doing a fan swap on your UPS for Noctua fans, I might give that a go. Not because just because I love swapping out fans with Noctua fans. Because, they're quiet, efficient, and great. But hey, I hope you get it. I don't know if there's any specifics I need to know about how much air I need to push on my UPS, but I'd love to know. Love to know what you run into. I'll let you go first. You're my canary. Hey everyone. Hey. What are you all doing this weekend? Let's see. How's it going? Wise TV. I am doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm usually in a pretty good mood after I film and when I start editing, because I know the nerve-wracking part of filming is over. So pretty good. Randoneering, what are you doing? You're doing boring adult things. It's okay. It's okay to adult today. Though kiddos combined with a B-Day party on Saturday, financial planning, nothing homelab, unfortunately, but definitely so more Sea of Stars. Dude, that just, I don't know. Gonna say financial planning, important, kind of boring. Kids' birthday party, fun, because then you get to talk to all the other adults and let kids go wild. Dude, Wise TV, hey, thanks for the resub. Prime, 5 months. Thank you so much. Haven't been able to tune in the stream for quite a while. Glad I could catch one. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, hopefully this Friday time works out for most or more than Saturday did. I'm still bouncing back and forth between Friday and Saturday. Saturday's my backup day. If I can't get it to on Friday, that's when I start cutting into weekends to get to it. Thunder God. Setting up some smart home stuff in Home Assistant. Awesome. It's a deep, dark rabbit hole, but I think very rewarding. Very rewarding. I would say don't do the automations until you got all of your devices in there. Because once you start going down automations, that's when it can get even deeper and darker in that rabbit hole, for sure. Chicano, how's it going? What's up with Chicano? Chicano had a blast at the Arizona Tech Summit, told my teacher about it, and apparently he's going to see if the school will reach out to the organizer and get a deal going with them to allow students next year. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome. I think that'd be great for kids to go to something like that. I mean, I assume it's just a general tech conference or summit, but I think that's awesome because at least when I was in school, we didn't have access to stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure those things kind of happened. I mean, it was a while ago. But it'd be awesome to get real world experience at a conference like that. I think that'd be fun. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Wise TV. I started leak code grind to prep for job hunting towards the end of the year. Oh, that's tough. So yeah, leak code grind. So if you're not familiar with leak code, it's basically all of the code tests that a lot of places hiring software engineers or software developers will give you to solve there live in front of people. As if coding wasn't nerve-wracking enough, you have to prove that you know how to code and solve, pretty, I wouldn't say atypical, but pretty typical scenarios. Some of them, you may or may not run into as a software engineer, depending on what you're doing, but a lot of them you will. I mean, typical stuff like, hey, walk this tree from you all the way up to the CEO to you name it. And I think a lot of them are just trying to test hey, do you know how to write these common algorithms? Do you know these common data structures? And they just kind of want to see more than see if you know how to write the exact code. I don't know, leak code now, the tests might have changed to where it's they're actually going to lint and do your stuff in real time. But I think a lot of the times too, I think they're just trying to see your thought process, how you do it, and what type of algorithm you'd write and what data structure you would put that into. So it's not fun. It's not fun. I wish there was a better way to interview someone because it is not fun at all. But good luck. I hope you get it. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's see. JC Michael. Figuring out if I should stay with HA proxy since I'm already using it for pfSense, or try to learn traffic. That's up to you. I think that, how do I put this? Like, if you're using HA proxy, you're getting a ton. You're gonna get a lot of the same things. If you're looking at it like, hey, I use it on top of pfSense, and so I get HA proxy, so I kind of understand it. Sure, that might be something you want to do. If you want to do something that's more, cloud native, I assume you're going to do it on Docker or Kubernetes. I assume Docker or the Kubernetes. If you want to push that down into a container and learn about doing it that way, and declaratively define your routes instead of doing it in a UI, do it in YAML. That appeals to you. Doesn't appeal to a lot of people, but it might appeal to you. I say go for it. But at the end of the day, it's like, do you want this thing to work and be able to support it, or do you want to learn and get it to work? And so, it's kind of up to you. I think it's good to learn. I think it's, especially if you're already doing stuff with containers, you could push all of that logic down into there and solve it that way too. But you might be talking about HA proxy in a container too. So yeah, I haven't done a ton of HA proxy stuff, only a tiny bit, and I think I used it for a forward proxy, not even a reverse proxy. So yeah. Let me know. Curious to know what you find out. Budney, between chores, I am ripping media to put on a Jellyfin server. Awesome. That is awesome. That's a good thing to do between chores, is just pop in your disk, let it rip, let it convert, handbrake it, come back later. Okay. That is awesome. It's nice too if you have like a separate, machine for that. Most people don't, or maybe they do, but it's pretty cool. It's funny. I still have my CDRW drive and my Blu-ray read CDRW combo drive in storage downstairs. I saw it and I was like, never getting rid of these. Never. Let's see. That's what I'm asking. What are you guys working on? Let's see. Salvarius going to dive into figuring out if I can automate backups of Postgres. Hey, yeah. It's awesome. You can. I assume you can. I know you can. I have a couple tips if you need to do it. I have a couple of Docker containers that I actually do it with. There's some actual Docker containers that run, a job on a cron schedule that will back it up and tar it up and gzip it up so that you can actually have the PG dump of the database. So rather than restoring the volume or restoring the VM that it might be working on, or reinstalling or restoring the VM that the container might be on that the volume is writing to, I really prefer doing, database dumps nightly and then backing that up. Because then that means it's agnostic. It's agnostic. You don't care about the node. The node died, whatever. You could spin it up somewhere else and you can restore it. And it kind of takes that, that abstraction layer, or not abstraction layer, that I would say that hard dependency on that node to be restored before you can get to the data. So yeah, there's a couple of good Docker containers that can do it. You can run them in Kubernetes, which I do. You can run them in a Docker container as long as they can communicate with your database, and you give it some creds. You could do the PG dump and tar it up, and you can do it a lot of ways. So yeah, it's what I do. I back up things a couple ways, but that is one way I always do it. If I do a database, not only do I back up, the volume, the data itself, captured state, take snapshots, I also do a dump of it too, because what if one day I'm like, hey, that node is corrupted, or hey, I don't want to run it on this node anymore. I'm going to migrate to something else. Then I have the dump right there and I can just go from there. But yeah, you'll figure it out. You know this stuff. Hey, how's it going? Let's see. Genosci, working on a fun little pocket server to take on the go. Hey, I kind of like where this is going. Kind of like my mobile home lab stuff, but a pocket server. I'm betting it's got to be a Pi. Got to be a Raspberry Pi. Speaking of Pis, yeah, Raspberry Pi 5 is coming. It was announced yesterday. I'm sure you guys all saw it. If you didn't, check out Geerling's got a great video on it. Geerling does, Jeffy G. He's got a great video on it covering everything you could possibly know about the Raspberry, or want to know about the Raspberry Pi 5. Looks pretty incredible. But anyways, this pocket server thing, I need to know more about this. What is this? I'm assuming it's Raspberry Pi with a battery. and you could do stuff with it. I'm making this stuff up. Pi 0, that would even be smaller. Yocto working on replacing switches with Aristas for MLAG support. I assume that's multi-lag. I don't know MLAG. Multi-link aggregation. I'm just making up words. I know lag is link aggregation. I'm gonna say multi. Support for adding about 80 terabytes of storage to YWS. All right, man. 80 terabytes. Jeez. That is a lot of storage. That is a lot of storage. I don't tell me ever what's going on in your home lab. Just tell me what you're doing. Cause I love not knowing. I love not knowing. I mean, I kind of have a clue of what you're doing, but, awesome, man. YWS is getting a storage upgrade and a network upgrade. Hey, let's see. I missed a couple. Let's see. I'll do here. Boiling comment. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Locaz. Thanks for the sub. Prime sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome. Let's go. So let's see. Happy Friday, everyone. Blame Tim. I'm getting some Unify gear. Uh-oh. What is going on? PC Geek. He is getting Unify. All right. I know. I can't wait to razz him about it because everybody razzes me about having Unify, but I think he's I don't know if he's going to the dark side or the light side or whatever, but sometimes, you know, their switches are really good, their access points are really good. Anyways, let's see what he's talking about. Blame Tim. Sure. I'm getting some Unify gear, USW aggregation, so 8-port 10 gig SFP plus switch. Awesome. 48-port US 48 and a couple of UAP AC Pros. Awesome. So the 8-port aggregation switch. Awesome. So you're going to get 10 SFP plus ports. Awesome. So you could do whatever you want. They're SFP plus, so you could plug in GBICs or a DAC. Sweet. Then getting 48 port. So I assume it's just a 48 port switch with probably all, that's the US 48. I think all gigabit 48 ports of gigabit. And then 4 SFP plus ports. Awesome. And a couple of UAP AC Pros. Those are awesome. Those are a hidden gem. The UAP AC Pros, I know everyone wants Wi-Fi 6, even though they might not be able to take advantage of Wi-Fi 6, even though the speeds are just a tiny bit more. The UAP AC Pros are a hidden gem because they have a trunk port on them. They have 2 ports on them. I have 2 of them, and that's how I bridge my home network to like my garage. And so I have my home network. My garage has one of these UAP AC Pros. It acts as a client and connects home. And then from there on the trunk port, so on the additional pass-through port, it has a port that's open of untagged traffic. And then from there, I can hook up a switch and then tag all the traffic and then separate it that way. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. That is a hidden gem. Not many people are buying them. You can probably find them pretty reasonably priced used on eBay. And I just love them. Even though they're not Wi-Fi 6, they're still like having that additional port gives you so much flexibility. Like I'll have this one almost forever just because like I can set up, you know, if I had a workstation and, you know, if I had a whole bunch of machines, didn't have a great switch or couldn't run, you know, a network to it, I would just, you know, pop one of these in, create a mesh network or a client bridge, pop a little switch on there, and boom, like every machine on my workbench would then have internet access without them even connecting because they would all be hardwired. Albeit a client bridge back to wireless, but it's awesome. And I've done that before. So anyways, welcome. I don't know if that's dark side or light side, but welcome. Kinda. You haven't gotten them yet, so. Avalanche, migrating my R stack from Docker desktop to TrueNAS scale. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so going from Docker desktop to TrueNAS scale, and that's awesome. So I figure you're probably thinking, well, all of my data and all of my data and is already here on my NAS. So why do the create a virtual machine and then create all of these, you know, links or you know, network paths to all of this data? Why not just store it on there? Yeah, sounds awesome. Sounds like a efficiency play for sure. Evolise, going to be a wild weekend. All right, swapping my Unraid server to a new server. All right, supporting rolling out new certs and keys at work. All right. Meanwhile, my 18-year twins and all their friends round for their 18th birthday party might just survive. That sounds awesome. So yeah, it sounds like a good time. So Unraid to a new server. I assume you built a new server and you're moving your Unraid installation to there. Maybe you're trying something else, maybe not. Rolling out new certs and keys at work. Yeah, that I would say that sounds like fun, but it doesn't sound like fun, at least for me, because certs and keys a little bit. How to manage them at scale is a little bit of a black box for me. But I bet you got this. And then 18-year-old twins are having all of their friends over for an 18-year birthday party. That sounds like a good weekend. Sounds like a good weekend. Well, Evo, Elise, have a great weekend. Make some time for, you got time for tech. And man, you've squeezed everything in there. Life, tech, and work. So it sounds like a good weekend. Gumshoe Noir, how's it going? Hey from Mesa, Arizona. Hey, hello from Minneapolis. Let's see. Yakto, if you need some Unify gear, I have a whole stack of stuff for sale. That's the gig right there. That's the gig you want to get on. Yakto's leftovers, not leftovers, but the things that he deprecates are probably still brand new over there at YWS. Sigor, like the Docker hoodie. Hey, thank you. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Yeah, it's Docker. It's the new logo Docker. Yeah, they sent me this a while ago. It was totally random on Twitter. I replied to a tweet one day and they're like, "Hey, grab some stuff out of our merch store." I was like, "Yeah, I will." They're pretty gracious with their merch store codes too. So if you ever want, a Docker hoodie or want a Docker plushie, just, tag them and they'll be like, "Yeah, here's a code." Now they're going to run out of merch, but hey, I mean, this is marketing for them. So like, yeah, why wouldn't they give out their stuff? If someone's like, "Hey, I'd love to wear your merch," I'd be like, "Yeah, here you go." Anyways, Genocide, Raspberry Pi 5 out now? Yeah, for sure it is out now. I was just talking about it. Yeah, check out Gearling's video. It is awesome. There's a lot of creators. I think Network Chuck has one too. I saw Network Chuck's. I saw Jeff Gearling's. And then I was like, I know everything I need to know about a Raspberry Pi by seeing both these videos. But check them out. I mean, they're both really comprehensive. A lot of cool stuff. 2.5 times better. I'll just say 2.5 times better. But after 8 years, they better be, right? Brockhard, just thinking about wiping my PC and being an Arch user, LOL. Rising sounds fun. Come on. Are you going to Arch because you like it? You like the rolling release? Or are you going to Arch because you want to tell people you're on Arch? Why not both? Yakto, oh boy, that can be dangerous. Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, Yakto's hand-me-downs are pretty good. It's like my hand-me-downs to my friends and family. They're like, whoa, this is like 10x better than what I have, and you're getting rid of it. Randoneering, yep, Pi 5, and maybe something I will be picking up for testing out Pop! OS and contributing to the OS. That sounds awesome. Yeah, might as well. Yeah. Let's not talk about printers. Yeah, no way. I'm avoiding that one like the plague. Didn't plan on the US 48. Just watched it on eBay, and the seller sent me an offer. That's the way to go. Randoneering, Midwest for sure. I know you're up and around Chi-Town. Let's go, man. Midwest all the way. Hi there from Germany. Hello from the US. How's it going, Morton? Cold, raining, then randomly 80s. Yeah, that's exactly what we have going on. So you're probably going to get our weather. You're probably getting our weather because, the weather in the United States mostly because of the jet stream, at least in the Midwest, goes from west to east. It's that's what we're getting. So today is going to be a high. Well, it was going to be a high of 80. I think tomorrow's a high of 81 and then a high of 85. It's creeping back up. So this warm front just came in. It's what brought a lot of this rain. And then it's going to go away and go back to cool, which I like. I like a high of about 68, 69. That's if it's a high of 68, 69, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. Genocide. Hey, fellow Minnesotan here. All right, let's go, Minnesota. Morton Nolson, TrueNAS scale, bare metal versus virtualize. Yeah. Yes. I've talked about this a lot. I've been virtualizing forever. I still virtualize it today. Virtualization will give you a lot of flexibility as far as, taking advantage of like a combined piece of hardware. So for me, I was at the point where I was like, I don't really want to run my NAS 24/7 and then have this virtualization server too. So for me, because I beefed up one, I thought, well, I can virtualize. So I can virtualize just the OS of TrueNAS Scale, and then pass through my RAID or my HBA controller, with that can hold up to 15 drives to the host machine. And so that I felt that's pretty safe to say, like, hey, this virtual machine is only the OS, and that all of the physical hardware connected to that is the actual physical hardware. There's no abstraction layer or anything like that. It has direct access to the hardware, and I still feel like that's a really safe bet. Once you start getting into passing individual drives, not that it won't work, it just makes things complicated. It makes things very complicated, but it'll still work that way too. I feel like it's a safe bet. At some point, would I love to have a dedicated NAS? Sure. I have a hard time, keeping another machine on 24/7. I need a dedicated, hypervisor on 24/7. But I'm going to have a hypervisor on 24/7. And so I thought, well, do I need another machine on 24/7? I thought no. And so, I just consolidated. So I'm basically consolidating or sharing, really, compute, RAM, and a little bit of disk. And then everything else is connected physically to the virtual machine. Brandon Aaron, cannot wait for the Mac Studio stuff. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. It took some twists and turns, and learned more about Thunderbolt than I think anything else. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I actually can't wait to get it up and going. And this isn't like some pivot for me. Yes, I use Windows. I use Linux. I use Mac. This is replacing my aging Intel MacBook because I'm doing less Mac on the go, and I'm doing more, at home, obviously, because I work from home. In every way, I work from home, except for one day a week. Sometimes I go in. But anyway, so yeah, it's pretty fun. I hope it turns out okay. But I'm glad you're excited for it. Avalanche, are you going to use something like Windows from LVT's KVM? I think you mean like LTT's KVM. Am I going to use something like that? No, I've been talking to Wendell about it. It was funny because we're in a Discord together, and I was talking about it, and it's awesome. He has the best KVM known to on the planet. And I've gone through some of the pains too with learning about KVMs. Not that I wanted to, but I had to for doing PyKVM stuff, and I had to capture EDIDs and learn about like all of these ways that, KVMs kind of have their own profile that they give to, the machine. And that's why, DRM and stuff doesn't work. Anyways, all that being said, his is the best KVM out there. Am I going to use something like that in the future? I don't know. I have a system right now that works pretty good. And it's not because I don't want to use a KVM. It's because I've kind of built my own system that kind of works okay with the many plugs that I have. So I'm doing, because I have to also switch HDMI input too for this camera. Sometimes I'm on Windows, and so I switch it to there like I am now. Sometimes I'm on my Mac for Zoom calls, and so I have to be able to switch it to there too. I don't know. I'd still have to switch that. Anyways, long story short, maybe someday. I know that he's working on or working towards getting the DVI one working, and I think it has USB-C too. So I don't know. It is awesome. Like I never realized how much he has invested into it. And I'm not talking about money. I'm just talking about brain power and like his life invested into it. It's pretty awesome. I didn't realize until LTT did that video on his KVM, like how in depth his KVM is, and why it's better, and why he's done a lot of things before a lot of the other manufacturers, and how a lot of them are copying him. So it's pretty awesome to see, and it was awesome to get to meet him in person too. And Wendell is exactly like you see him in the video. I mean, he is. He needs zero rehearsal. Wendell is always on. He is always on. Even when you meet him in person, he is always on. And he's a great guy. I feel super comfortable around him. He's probably like, who is this guy and why does he talk so much? But I really like him. He's a great guy. Hey, why am I not seeing? Okay. Hey, I thought I just saw something pop up, but I'm not seeing it on my screen. So, anyways, I'm gonna keep going. Let's see. I'm gonna look for ones that aren't mentioned. Image just introduced, allowing external photo libraries on it. So going to add it to my existing photos this week in Genocide. Yeah, so Image is really awesome. Image is really awesome. I was actually talking about Image to Wendell when we were on that 45 drives trip. But Image just keeps getting better. And I'm to the point where I'm like questioning whether, I want to go all in and take my photo backups, out of iCloud and my wife's photo backups out of iCloud and self-host it. I'm kind of like, is it there yet? I don't know. I know for a lot of people it is. I've even considered, if I could do dual backups and give it a go before I did. I do know that they, I don't know. Anyways, Image is awesome. If you're looking for, like a Google Photos like experience or Drive like experience just for photos and movies, and you want to actually back up your phones and self-host that, you can with Image. IMMICH. You see it on the screen because now you see it on the screen. It's pretty awesome. So you're saying they added what? They introduce allowing external photo libraries on it. That is awesome. So I assume you connect to it, and from there it connects to something else. So if you had Google Photos from there, you could access that within the app too. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I'll have to check it out. Why are my sorry, I apologize. I need to move this over only because like my eyes aren't tracking correctly. I wish this tool that I use had a grid instead of just like this freeform list. Anyways, I need to get Image up and running. Yeah, it is. It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I'm the same way. Investigating cluster provisioning using something. So you're using something. So pretty cool. So I assume, I don't know what kind of clusters. I assume you mean Kubernetes clusters. I'm just guessing. Let's see. Mutables on. Verifying redemption. Yeah, I know you guys. We so much better. Let me find something that is. This is everyone going for the. Let's see. PC Geek, the fan on. Oh, so we were talking about fans. One more back. Sorry. Tetrahedron. Hey, love your work. Thanks for keeping up with your community. Hey, thanks. Love ye. Hey, thanks. Hey, no problem at all. I try to keep up when I can. Even one day a week and streaming it gets kind of hard. So I'm trying my best. PC Geek, the fan on my trip light doesn't come on unless the power goes to battery. Oh, mine does. Mine does all the time. Hey, I'm gonna. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to line up what's going on the screen that is along with these alerts. I'm gonna refresh this so I can. Okay, refresh it. Dude, I think Shuckle Samurai, things are kind of messed up right now. I think Twitch is probably having a problem. But anyways, Shuckle Samurai, it looks like, dude, you gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Dude, thank you so much. So I am Meppel. Some of my parts, Big Ant Rod, Lesser Train, and Deckard Kane 1. Hey, enjoy your gifted sub from Shuckle Samurai. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't know what's going on with my alerts. They're a little bit off. I have 3 systems where I'm watching alerts, and they seem to be a little bit out of sync. So I appreciate it. Dude, thank you so much. Shuckle Samurai, no problem. Enjoy the subs. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. It helps a ton, so I appreciate it. It really does. PC Geek, the fan of my trip light doesn't come on unless the power goes to battery. Mine does. So I got to check. So I have a trip light too, and mine does. My rack mount one. And I don't know if that's because it has extra battery backups and whatnot, but I can hear it. And it's not loud, but it's there. It's noticeable. So I'll have to check. Yeah, I think you're right. Assume this is to cool the DC to AC inverter. I agree. But I would like to see what kind of fan's in there. Hopefully it's a stock PC fan. Just as you'll see in here, spoiler alert, this Mac rack for a Mac Studio has Noctua fans in it. And I was like, yes, I'm so glad. Sonnet was like, yes, we're going to put Noctua fans in it. They were like, why skimp out? Why just put the best in them? And then, people will see it like, hey, that is awesome. So anyways, I maybe they know their market. I don't know. At least for me, when I saw them, I was like, oh yeah, they have Noctua fans in here. Okay. Let's see. So, Gumshoe Noir. I've been replacing some large, heavy, power-hungry workstations like the HP Z840, a Dell 7600 with newer, smaller, lighter, more efficient units like the Lenovo M90Q, M75, so on and so forth. I also flashed Tasmota on some Sonoff S31s and added power usage monitor to all my servers. That is awesome. That is awesome. So one, you're I don't want to say downsizing. You're doing a lateral, right? You're taking workloads that used to run on maybe power hungry older systems, moving them to newer systems, more efficient. Hey, I love that. Like you guys probably saw on Twitter and everywhere else that, yeah, I did that with 2 of my 1U servers. I was able to get all of the workloads from 2 1U servers into 3 Intel NUCs, which is awesome. Saved a ton of power and heat and all that. Still running. Still have my 1Us there for backup, but I might have a new job for them soon. So that's awesome. And then you flashed Tasmota on some Sonoff gear. So I assume, I think Tasmota is the open source kind of, maybe it's open source, maybe it's not, but it's firmware that you can flash on IoT devices that isn't owned by a particular company. That's awesome. That is awesome too. So now you can monitor the power usage for all of your servers. That is cool. That is cool. I need to do some more on that. I have a little bit of lightweight power monitoring, and I get some through my Unified PDU Pro. But I would like something a little bit more open and just in Grafana, so I can say, hey, today my rack used this much. Last week it was using this much. Why? And kind of, dive in from there. So that's awesome. That is awesome. And some more Sea of Stars adult art. Yeah, man, you are adulting for sure. The real Croton. Any good recommendations for disk performance monitoring, disk performance benchmarking? Been running FIO on my R730 with NVMe SATA SSDs. The results are pretty similar across all drives. NVMe is all over the place. Sometimes half the speed of SATA. I think there's a disk command utility that you can use just called disk speed. So if you're doing this in Linux, I think there's one you can use. It's called disk speed. It's just called disk speed. I could be wrong. And if you have Windows or Mac, like I've just been testing disk speed on these two, it's either going to be Crystal Mark or a Morpheus disk mark. For Mac, and you'll see that in this video. It's just like Crystal Disk Mark for Windows, but it's for Mac called Amorpheus Disk Mark. But you're doing it on servers, and so I assume you're doing that on Linux too, or maybe you don't have anything installed on there. And I think there's a command line utility just called disk speed. I've never used it though. I've never used it to be honest, but I found it while looking on a better way to test stuff on a Mac. I wish I had better information for you, but half the speed of SATA does not sound right. Like your NVMe should be blazing both on sequential and random read and write. It should be blazing fast. So to me, that might say you don't have enough lanes, but you should have enough lanes. If it's an R730, you should have enough lanes. And so, there's a couple things you could also check too. If those NVMEs are connected, I don't know how they're connected. They're probably over PCIe. If they are over PCIe, check to make sure that whatever you bought is PCIe 3. I assume a 730 doesn't have 4. If it has 4, make sure it's set to 4, not on auto, or go in the BIOS and check to make sure it's negotiating at the highest speed it can negotiate at. You might want to check to see that it has enough lanes. Sometimes, like I've been messing around with, my video card was only getting 8x instead of 16, and one of my other devices was only getting 1 lane instead of 4. It's painful. These are the things I've been going through this last week. You can tell you hit a sore spot or a hot spot for me this week. It's like this comment came right in time. Sorry here. And then what else did I have to check? Yeah, I would check those. And before you do the disk speed, just make sure that everything's negotiating correctly. You are getting all the lanes, and then check your card. Maybe that card bifurcation is another thing that I just learned all about while doing this stuff. I assume you aren't using a card. I don't know how many. There's so many questions. But I learned about PCIe bifurcation too. Hopefully your motherboard supports it. I don't even know if you're doing it, but if you're trying to put multiple NVMe drives onto one PCIe adapter, make sure that bifurcation is supported and or is working. And that's just the way that card divides up those disks and allows, say, 2-4 NVMe's to access the full 8 that it's in an 8x slot, and that's negotiated properly. So lots to check. Lots to check. I learned a lot about that this week too. Oh, okay. So I hope I gave you some hints on where to look. Like I said, I would make sure everything in BIOS looks good first, and then go from there. Because like that's, I mean, if it doesn't negotiate properly in BIOS, then it's like it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Valcob, is there a way to set up Ubiquiti Dream Machine as a dumb repeater? Repeater mean to remove all the default settings like WAN port 5 and just get all under bridge and disable firewall and so on and so forth. Mean the CLOI way and their UI is shiz. I don't know. I've never done that. I don't know. I mean, I've never done it, so I couldn't tell you. It sounds like you're way down like a different path. I would assume there would be, because you just want to use it like a switch, a smart switch. I would assume I would just disable all the ports, disable WAN, disable everything else, and just plug an uplink into one of the switch ports, and then call it good. Yeah, but you want it to be as a dumb repeater. I think you mean a switch, maybe. I assume you don't mean an old hub. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're trying to do. Yeah, I don't know. But it sounds like you know what you're doing, and you've known enough to Google it to know that the CLI might be the only way. So I've never done it, but it sounds like you're a lot further down that path than knowing than I am. MDH Matt, take the expansion cable from the fan pack and splice in the original cable. Usually have some proprietary connections, but it will let you use any fan. Remember to check pinouts. Hey, thanks. So that's the tip on swapping out my UPS fan. As soon as I hear cutting and splicing, I'm kind of like, okay, is the fan really bothering me that much? You know, personally, it's not. It's not. If it were dead, absolutely. I don't even know how I would know it were dead. I mean, I would just be like, oh, the fan's not on, but I'm not down there 24/7. Maybe I get a critical alert from my monitoring. But as soon as I hear cutting and splicing, I'm like, okay, the fan better either be dead or broken before I'm going to start cutting stuff. So I might hold off on that, but I appreciate you saying that. I'll have to look to see how mine's connected. Maybe someone has a teardown on my specific model. I'll Google that later, so that I don't have to open it up and look at it, because it's hard getting my UPS out. It's at the very bottom of my rack, and then I have a battery pack behind it, and I rig some stuff in there, as we all do. You're answering a question. Thank you, Yakto. Another question. Marnaz. Hey, Tim. Hope you're doing all right. I am doing all right. How do you manage secrets in your home lab? I'm considering a local HashiCorp vault. Have you tried it? Yeah, great question. How do I manage them? So I manage them using SOPs. And so SOPs can be used a lot of different ways. It's secret operations. But I use SOPs to do it so that I could commit my secrets to code, and then they get decrypted in cluster so they can be used. I've done that because I didn't want to implement a vault. Not that anything is wrong with a vault, but I just thought, hey, I'm a developer of one. Encrypting my secrets and putting them in a GitHub repo is a good thing to do for all kinds of secrets, even ones that aren't going to end up in my key store or end up in a vault. So I went that route, and then I have a controller in cluster that has the key that can decrypt them and then give them to each individual pod. So yeah, HashiCorp Vault is the way to go. I think that will give you a lot of you'll learn a ton about how HashiCorp Vault works, and how vaults work in general. I think that's a good way to go. Because a lot of people are using it. A lot of cloud providers have their own vault that works, similarly. So I think going down that route, you can't go wrong. But I will say, me personally, I use SOPs to encrypt them in place, and then I commit them to code. No one has the key but me and my cluster. So But that's how I do it. But if you want to see that, just look at my documentation, and I have something called, I don't know, SOPS, S-O-P-S. Just search my documentation for SOPS at technotim.live, and you'll see the breakdown, how to do it in the video, and maybe you could decide, hey, this is for me, or hey, this is not for me. But it's helpful with other secrets too. You know, like you could encrypt your whole .env file for Docker, right? And encrypt it that way and commit it to your repo, and then you're like, sweet, you know. No one has this key. No one can get to it. No one could decrypt it. And now my .env file is safe there. And keep your decryption key safe, or your private key safe. Let's see. Techno. It's a very professional adult type conference, so there are many vendors there, which surprised that I was there, and I managed to get in by chance. Every person had their name, role, company, and where they worked at. I would always introduce my name and then school district, and they'd all be shocked when I said student is my role. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that would be a great learning experience for sure. As you went and you saw, it was a good experience for you. I think it would be a good experience for the rest of the young adults. I'll say kids, the rest of the young adults at your school, for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna hop around because that looks like a thread. Gonna hop. Let's see. Oh no, this has got to be a joke too. When is IPv6 coming to your network? I don't know if you're trolling me or not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a use for it now that I know of. I know that my Windows machine use it by default to communicate with each other. So I kind of have it, but I am not managing it at this point. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a path I want to go down. Not because anything's wrong with it, but just because I know nothing about it. And maybe that's the perfect reason to do it and to explore it a little bit more. Yeah, maybe. I like it. I like where this is going. Kind of. I'm scared now. Smurpheus. Is Ansible working for Windows Server to automate server updates and reboots? Yeah. There's a playbook to do that. Absolutely there is. I mean, you're gonna need Python. Like, there are dependencies that you'll need for Windows in order to do this. But at the same time, yes, absolutely. So the same playbook you would write, you could use Ansible to do multi-platform things, and should work. Bill Nash, Sup Nerds. Yeah, the stream is now official. Bill Nash with the Sup Nerds. Yeah. Pi 5 for sure. Salvair is currently stopping services, tarring the directory structure and moving it to an NFS share. Like the idea of a separate container running and doing this for me. Yeah, Salvair, and on top of that, use something that will do a PG dump, that will actually dump the database into a SQL file, so that you can open that SQL file, look at it, or import it into a new database, or run the database local, so that you don't have to do all of that, shuffling and moving. If you wanted to spin up the database local to test something or to do something, that's tough. That's tough to do with the file structure and stuff like that, because I think they're binary. I don't know. You have to construct everything in a appropriate way or install it a certain way. So yeah, I would just do a PG dump. Anytime I have databases, not only do I back up everything in the whole entire stack, but at the same time, I dump it once a night to a SQL file, so then I could just open it and load it anywhere I want. Pocket server, no. Utility belt time. I like it. Yeah, utility belt. I can get there. I can get there. Let's see. The Pocket server I have is set up as indeed a Raspberry Pi 4 with a battery pack. All right. I have it set up using a router, using RASPAP, RASP AP, so I can access it via Wi-Fi and create a hotspot. Most used feature on it currently is to auto backup my SD cards on a video photo shoot and then accessing it via iPad. Oh yeah, to view the share on the go. I like it. I like that. Yeah. I hope you have some instructions on how to do that, because I definitely like that, because there are times, there are lots of times when I have my memory card that I wish I could back up somewhere, because I know it's the only copy I have of something until I get to my laptop, which in the case of like when I was at 45 drives, that could be a while. Same with my audio stuff. So yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool. Have you looked at, all right, Cam Ranger. All right, so there's a purchasable option for it too. I like that for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna hop around because we're getting kind of close to the end of the stream, but I want to make sure I address the ones that I can in the time that I have. Takano, I've been tempted to start an AD server, but was put off after a presentation on how bad the security is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on what the presentation was. I mean, I think a lot of people use Active Directory. They either use it in the cloud or they're running domain controllers in their domain. I don't know if it's inherently insecure. I mean, that's kind of its job is, identification and authorization and, security models around that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the video was. I mean, I think, it depends on what you do with it. It's a sharp scissors, so you gotta handle them with care. Let's see. I'm just gonna pop into here. So I don't have any more PCI lanes on Proxmox server, or I might virtualize my NAS. Yeah. Whoa, out of PCI. Oh, I got you. You're out of the actual. Yeah, the lanes. The slot, I should say. I was like, oh, you're out of lanes, but you're out of slots. I see what you say. Yeah, that is tough. That is tough. If you run out of them, then, what can you do? Because you definitely, if you're going to use an HBA, it's going to need a lot of lanes so you can keep all those drives fed, or you can keep the CPU fed of all the data that's going to come by. So, all right, guys, I'm going to scroll around. Let's see, Shrapnel. Is that Sharpnel? Sharpnel. I'm going with this one. Currently, I'm running a VPS with a trade server on it. Trade server. But I would love to run it on an actual server. Problem is, heat in my tiny apartment. Love your videos and glad to catch you live on Twitch. Hey, yeah, thank you. No problem. Yeah, that is one of the trade-offs. That is one of the trade-offs of running it at home. It's power. It's heat. It's, it's internet, all of those things that could go away or that cost you lots of money. And so, yeah, that one's kind of tough. It just depends. Like like we talked about a little bit earlier in here before, you'd be surprised on how much or how little compute you might actually need. And so, depending on what you want to do, you could get by with something smaller, and in a smaller form factor, just because it's server doesn't always mean that it has to be big and beefy and enterprise. Server can mean a lot of things. And so, yeah, I've had a ton of luck with my Intel NUCs and draw relatively little bit of power, and they are beasts, and I love it. Okay, I'm going. Okay, I'm going here. Flex. Just put the wrap it up on this IPv6. I mean, IPv6 should not be something to have to use for. In my opinion, it's something everyone should work around to establish back to the P2P connectivity and get the internet back the way it was supposed to be. Would love some deep dives and videos on this. I see what you mean. Just to make things, yeah, I see. Publicly routable, so that we're not going through, someone's NAT. Basically, everyone can be, on the edge with their IP address. I see what you mean. Hey, yeah, sounds interesting. I need to know more, but I think I got the gist of what you're saying. Is that like, hey, let's not go through NATs. Let's just get everyone has their own public IP, and it's publicly routable, and do what you want, do what you want, host what you want, it sounds awesome. I mean, that's, it's kind of what some people are trying to do now with Fediverse and many other products now. It's like, hey, yeah, let's build kind of what the spirit of the old internet used to be. So anyways, hey all, thanks so much for joining in today. Man, there were so many follows, so many subs, so many bits. I really appreciate it. I never expected, but I greatly appreciate it, and definitely helps me out, helps me build and do things. And yeah, I'm kind of doing a half-time, kind of full-time YouTube-ish type thing. So I really appreciate it. I say it like I'm like 80% content creator now. It's like I have this little 20% where I'm doing some consulting, but I really appreciate it. So it's super helpful. Never Never expected, but greatly appreciated. If you want to talk more, if you want to hang out more, you want to talk about more stuff, want to get more ideas, want to talk about IP6, join a Discord server. We have a Discord server with around 9,000 people. It keeps fluctuating because I think bots join, it goes over, and then Discord cleans them up, and then we're a little bit under, but we're right around 9,000 people. I would love it if you join. I'm sure a lot of people would love it if you join too, to talk about lots of different stuff. Every time someone comes, it modifies, or I shouldn't say, it modifies the culture, the ideas, and we all grow as a group. So I really appreciate it. And hey, Boiling comment. Hey, thanks for the prime sub. Appreciate it. Yeah, right at the end. Sliding one in there at the end. Boiling comment. Thank you so much. Appreciate the sub. But yeah, join Discord if you want. Exclamation Discord will get you there. There's also links in the bottom, or just Google like Techno Tim's Discord, and there's a lot of smart people and a lot of people who are doing stuff all weekend, all night, all morning long from around the world. So if that's something you want to do, absolutely, you should join. I will be back here on Twitch next Friday. Friday's my usual stream now, somewhere between 12 and 1 CST. It's kind of flexible. And I will have something for you out shortly here on YouTube, so I appreciate it. Hey, have a great weekend. I almost said have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. And I will see you in Discord. Ping me if you need anything. Take care, folks. Be good to each other.